Hey, church family. Imagine standing on the top floor of a high-rise building and saying, I reject the law of gravity. I don't want to live under it. I don't want to be bound by it. I want my freedom. And then exercising your freedom, you jump off that building. Do that and you'll quickly discover that the law of gravity is not a good law to ignore, is it? You'll end up as a big splat on the sidewalk. Strange though that may be, it brings us to Deuteronomy chapter 28. The children of Israel were about to enter the promised land. Moses set before the Israelites the blessings of obeying the law of God and the curses of disobeying it. In verses 1 to 2 he said, Now it shall come to pass, if you diligently obey the voice of the Lord your God, to observe carefully all his commandments, which I command you today, that the Lord your God will set you high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you, because you obey the voice of the Lord your God. I love the way in which that is written. If you obey God, you can't outrun his blessings. They'll chase you down. They'll overtake you. They'll jump on you and wrestle you to the ground. But then there's the other side of the coin, which is equally true, and that is that disobedience will bring curses. It's as though Moses is setting before them the blessings and the blastings of God, and he told them that the choice was theirs. They could have one or the other. The Lord was in effect saying, if you disobey me, bad stuff is going to happen to you. Ignoring God's law is like ignoring the law of gravity. You're free to do it, but it's not going to end well. Verse 45 in Deuteronomy 28 sums it up. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you and pursue you and overtake you until you're destroyed, because you did not obey the voice of the Lord your God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he's commanded you. Notice, this is the same wording as verses 1 to 2. Either blessings will pursue you and overtake you, or blastings will pursue you and overtake you. You choose. What's interesting is that the list of curses or blastings that God promised in Deuteronomy 28 is 4 times longer than the list of blessings he promised. Why is that? I think it's because God knew Israel would sin and disobey. He knew the trouble they'd get into, and so he warned them in detail. But he still gave them the choice between blessing and blasting, obedience and disobedience. That's the big principle in this chapter. God says, here's my way. It's a way of blessing. The blessings will chase you down and jump on top of you whether you like it or not. You'll just be blessed in everything you do. But, if you run the other way, if you run away from me and my principles, just know that bad stuff is going to happen. This same thing applies to us today too. God has said, here is the way of blessing through Jesus and his cross. Choose him, be blessed, and have life. But if you don't choose him, that's your choice. But just know there will be consequences. Examine your heart right now. If you're telling yourself, God is not going to be the boss of me, I'm my own boss. I don't care about laws. I don't care about God. I want to do my own thing. I want liberty. God has given you the freedom to make that choice. But just know if that's the choice you make, there will be consequences. And while you have the freedom to choose your sin, you don't have the freedom to choose the consequences that might result from it. It's for this reason that God tells us, choose life, that both you and your descendants may live, that you may love the Lord your God, that you may obey his voice, and that you may cling to him, for he is your life and the length of your days. Blessing or blasting, life or death. The choice is ours, and I pray that we choose wisely. Amen.